Hello and welcome to Mind Shifters Radio. I'm Tim Hayes. I'm your host for the first hour, and today is Monday, December 8th, 2025. As always, we're grateful to everyone who's joining us here today, whether you're listening live or through the archives, as we spend another couple of hours teaching and supporting people in using some of the most powerful, effective, efficient, and accessible tools I've ever encountered. These tools are available absolutely free through the tireless efforts of Dr. Michael and Jeanie Ryce on the website at whyagain.org. If you go to that website and click on the two words that say Start Here in the upper left-hand corner, it will take you to a page where you can download and read Chapter 24 of Dr. Michael Ryce's book. His book is titled, Why Is This Happening to Me Again? And that chapter of the book contains a narrative description and explanation of the primary tool in this work. That tool is called the Reality Management Worksheet, sometimes called the Reality Management Wake-Up Sheet. And it's a tool I've been using for over 21 years now to improve the quality of my life and most of my relationships, and to turn any negative emotional experience I have into part of the infallible guidance system that each and every one of us has been given. You can also download the actual worksheet process itself. It's a simple PDF file. Click the link, download it, print it off, copy it as often as you'd like, and use it over and over again absolutely free. You can also download the actual web worksheets and audio files of shows just like this one, where people have been stepped through that worksheet process, and if you choose to listen to them even repeatedly, they can serve as a powerful tutorial for you to help you get maximum benefit from these tools in the shortest amount of time possible. You can also go to your app store and type in the three words HeartLand Aramaic Forgiveness. And if you choose to do that, before you're done typing the word forgiveness, you'll see the glowing heart icon. Tapping on that will let you download a completely free and private app that contains the Reality Management Worksheet. It contains an abbreviated version of that worksheet process, and it contains a copy of the Drag-On Klingon game, which is a wonderful way to introduce these tools to even younger audiences. We hope people do all of that soon and often, primarily because it tends to improve the quality of people's lives the more they actively apply these tools in their lives. And secondarily, because it tends to prompt comments, questions, answers, and testimonials. If you have any of those to share with us, please do so. You can email me at tjh@mindshifters-academy.org. You can email Jeanie at jeanie@whyagain.org. Or you can join us live most weekdays from 11 to noon Central Time. You can go to zoom.us and join the meeting with the ID number 853-2357-4173. That's 853-2357-4173. And we greatly appreciate whenever anybody chooses to do that, because it makes it so much easier for us to live into our intention with this work. The intention we have with this work is to be of service, and that is just so much easier to do when you let us know how these things are landing for you.
I'll report.
So, okay.
I've got a report from, oh my gosh, because as I chatted with you on Friday, lots was going on in upset, and so much insight came. First of all, I had an amazing birthday. It was just magical.
Excellent.
Yeah, it was magical. And I listened to what you said and just went into gentleness and experienced things I've not experienced before. And it was beautiful. And then I had gone for a massage. I didn't know I was guided to this massage, but I thought it was a female healer. And then I ended up being there, and I'm waiting in the waiting room, and a male comes out. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, oh, God, you're so funny, because his name was Sasha, and I'd not been to this healer before. And so I said, okay, I'm going to go with it. And so I went on the table, and I've never done this before either. I went naked, and I said, okay, whatever's meant to be received. And my body went through a complete somatic reset, where I was held in the safety of the masculine, and it was just, I don't even have full words for it. but I could feel viscerally, and normally I'm extremely guarded around the masculine and in any type of body work and that. But yeah, I just came to the breath and stayed with the breath, and this practitioner held it beautifully. It was just, I felt really seen, and also my body felt really known in the massage. So that was amazing. And then I ended up doing a womb ceremony with a bunch of girls, and we did a ceremony and a sauna where we're all naked and just got to share and do deep releasing in the feminine. It was magical. And what followed with that, the reason I'm sharing that, there's a somatic reset happening on my body, and where my nervous system, where it was, I want to say, sympathetic dominance, is now resetting to its natural state into the parasympathetic system. And I'm just observing it and noticing what's happening, the sensations, and just being with it. And I can feel my body releasing. And I also saw the pattern of counseling everybody and teaching everybody, because as a little girl, whatever that was, felt responsible for the emotional field. And because my high sensitivity of emotions, and then that was connection, was protection. So anyone in my field, I'm always scanning what's going on. And then, that's advice offering and all that. So, and now I'm really in my body, and I get to just check in with me. And then after our call on Friday, we did a meditation. Well, we listened to a song with Michael's radio show. We went offline because, of course, of copyrights. And this is what I saw. This was the whole setup. So I'm just so thankful for what happened in your radio show, because during that, I saw myself at my own birth, my high vibration self at my own birth, inviting myself and being there to collect myself. And then I saw the Divine Mother coming through this is energy, but coming through my crown as a yellow light, right through my body, out as me holding this being me, and then going all the way through my bloodline in my mother's womb, all the way through. And I realized, oh my gosh, I get to receive myself in my own presence. So it landed, and there's so much happening now in the resting of the nervous system, the thought forms collapsing, of having to, be responsible for everybody else, and the patterns, why they were initiated, and the maladaptive strategies I used to survive. And now I get to rest in my own safety. So.
How will you manage that?
Oh, you know what? And the other thing, I've not ever experienced this before, and everybody was so loving in the group around birthday, and but this is the first time I'm honestly saying this, that I actually feel the love. I've been separate from it it was always there, but couldn't perceive it. And wow. So.
Yeah, it was always there, and there were always reasons or roadblocks within you to feeling it.
Exactly. And it was so intense when on Friday I didn't know whatever was being released, and not that I needed to know the feelings, but that whatever that layering was. And I think, I was using ChatGPT to give me language and some of the things. So it's called a system stress cycle I was in. And then it's called like a down regulation, where the parasympathetic system comes back online. That's just language, not that I needed to even say that. But yeah, it's just, I feel really present in my own body and in my own being.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And good for the experience that you need to demonstrate to yourself that that's safe and healing to be there.
Yes.
Because this other internal state that you're calling sympathetic dominance, and these other beliefs each of them, which are negative being false, they have been the driving force for your creating the roadblocks to experiencing, to feeling this energy that you're in the middle of feeling right now.
Yeah. Like, what a gift. What just a glorious gift to be in this space right now until the next level of vitality and the next cycle comes up.
Right. But the gift is so deep and rich because if you will let it in, it's telling you that all of your fears about these other things happening and things getting away from you and you being damaged, that those conclusions that you've been pouring your mind energy into, they're all false.
Yeah.
And they're not necessary.
Yes.
So
the first time I actually can receive those words and feel it.
Yeah. So the gift continues because even when the next shoe drops or the next level of vitality, means that you can deal with the next deeper level of trauma and drama or toxin, it's okay because there's been this lived experience of the safety.
Yes.
And the more times you cycle through that, the more you tend to trust it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really landed. It just in this morning also. It's just in the body, and it's really lots of stuff on the right side, and just being a witness to it, and the body's talking to me, and I'm getting deeper awareness where I thought I couldn't label, but I see where it's trapped in muscles, and I can actually sense the depth of the iliacus where there's storage there, tension. I want to say the guardedness. Or down in my right knee, and I'm just saying it's okay. It's okay, I'm here. Take as long as you need. You're safe. We're safe, not you're safe. The body-mind unit is one. We're safe. It's a whole different, my reality's completely shifted. So, yeah, just gratitude to everyone. I wanted to share this because it's such a win. And, I'm not the only one that I know that's going through these type of things, so.
Well, thank you for sharing. It's great to hear. And the invitation in this work is to remember that it's happening because you're allowing it to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and finally, I guess I've let the guard down in my own consciousness or mind energy that would allow the opening for the truth to settle in. So, yeah, it feels really, really good. So, really good, yeah. So, thanks for listening.
You're very welcome and deserving.
Yes, I am. I can receive that. You said that since I joined the show. I just went bounced off. Now I'm claiming it. I am deserving, and I receive it.
Well, and we've talked about this a few times over the past few weeks that we have this. It's the kind of thing that gets highlighted when I introduce things like Megan Watterson and her books on the Mary Magdalene, the Mary Magdalene Gospels, and the book titled "The Girl Who Baptized Herself," with the story of Paul and Thecla. And some of these other readings from Rebecca Solnit, who wrote the book about a man spent 20 minutes explaining my book to me. And then there was another writing from Esther Perel that I shared. And then, there's the idea that as recent as 1966, the pervasive insanity amongst the men and most of the women in our culture was that women were too fragile to run a marathon. And it took a woman to go against all the rules and fight against the entire cultural phenomenon to go out there and run the marathon to prove them wrong. And she was attacked for it. I mean, she had literally had men trying to beat her up and throw her off the course. That's how threatened they felt. This is the same thing as was going on in the time of Paul and Thecla, that they said to Thecla, we've arranged for your marriage, and this is what you do. You're a woman in this culture. You're property. You're here to have kids and obey your husband. And she said, no, thanks. And it was so threatening that not once but 3 times they sentenced her to death. Right? So even if it's not a true story, even if she wasn't a real woman, the need to understand the programming in our minds that has been so pervasive that says, it doesn't matter how brilliant your brain is, if it's in the body of a woman, it's not as worthwhile. Its conclusions aren't as valid.
Oh my gosh, just even saying that, I can feel that. And I believed it. That's the thing. I really believed that because I was in a female body.
Yeah,
my opinions weren't
right.
as well.
But also, think about how old you were if you were born in 1974.
Yeah.
Or if you weren't yet born, just think about how close to your birth that age, 1974.
Born 64, yeah, so it would have been
because
10.
you were fully 10 years old
Yeah.
before women in this country were given the right to have a bank account or a credit card. 1974. And it was a fight. Now, if you can literally sit there and think in terms of all that we know about our minds being programmed and the beliefs that we're fed over and over again and how insidious they get and wrap themselves around and what Michael calls the power person dynamic. If you can think about all of that and all the cultural messages coming at you and think, oh, but that hasn't had any impact on me, then I'm not the teacher for you. I've mentioned some people run from acknowledging this because they think that in the acknowledgement of it, people will see them as playing the victim role. But in the acknowledgement of it is the first few steps of being able to change it and correct it. I can't correct a problem that I don't know I have. And if you're a woman in the Western culture, you have been brainwashed to believe that your judgment isn't good enough all by itself, that your internal source isn't as good as a man's.
Yeah. And that's what right now, it's unplugging from that falsehood and embodying the truth of who I am.
And as Esther Perel reminds us, that intimacy begins where performance ends.
Exactly. And I had a call with, I don't know if you know Dusty and Dr. Patrick.
I know of them from the internet show.
So Nita was on the call, and Andrea, myself, and Dusty on FaceTime. And this came to my awareness very clear. When the feminine holds the pure energy of love, so there's the power of love, and then there's the love of power. So this illusion has been taken up by the love of power. But when the feminine steps into her role as the truth of who she is, it removes performance in the field. And then the masculines can rest. And then it falls into its right order. That demonstrated on the call. And it's also been, now that came into my awareness just 3 days ago, and it actually happened, an event happened with Patrick at the intensive, where I saw him just fall into rest, but I didn't have a language of what was occurring. And then when I was at the massage therapist, the same thing happened. And then I've noticed it throughout my life.
What is it that happened at the massage therapist that was the same thing as what happened with Patrick?
Yeah, so they fell into it. There's a state of rest that happens in the energy field when there's no performance attached. And all I was doing was breathing. And I noticed the energy, the masculine energy just...
So you noticed that you were able to have the same kind of thing
Yes.
Patrick had at the intensive?
Yeah, well, so because I was exchanging with Patrick, I saw it in his field being, I guess, reflected for me. Thank you for correcting that. And then with the massage therapist, the exact same thing happened, where then maybe it's my masculine internally that went into rest, because it's the field and there was no performance.
Well, and so you're saying, using the word masculine, mine would say my defensiveness, right? My fear released, and I went into rest rather than be in that fight or flight or freeze mode, right? This idea of just softening and allowing, which is not what the sympathetic nervous system is for. It's for the programmed response, right? It's for the I'm going to fight or flight. I'm going to protect the physical at all costs. So it generates a tension. It generates walls or barriers to being open to the full experience. Right? It's literally part of my mind has decided that if I stay open to this experience, I won't survive. Exactly. And it's the adopting without any adaptation of the fight or flight mechanism for the physical energy system into the mental emotional energy system, where it doesn't really apply. It's not useful. It's the opposite of what's useful. Yeah. In the mental emotional energy system, what's most use is to stay open and let the breath flow and let the energies just move through.
Yeah, so thank you. It was obviously, it was me just going back to being on the table, and also with Patrick. And he was a mirror that allowed me, my nervous system, to go into rest. And then it and then so I got that exchange in the mirror, because I was at rest. That was what was mirrored back to me. I guess that's the way, maybe explain it better. But yeah, a whole different, so the guardedness is down. So very interesting. And then the other thing that was really important, I was able to do a love exchange. And I found out, I talked to my twin brother, who I haven't talked to. We talk maybe once a year. But found out one of my brothers is in a mental hospital. And I haven't talked to Steve in years. I only speak to my twin brother and my sister, and there was 8 of us. But I was able to do, and I thought about my brother. That's an area where the one that's in the mental hospital. I'm being asked by my divine self to kind of bring that into healing.
So is that your twin?
Not my twin brother I was speaking to, my older brother, who's 16 years older, that caused a lot of harm.
That's in the mental hospital?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He did a lot of, there's a background there of lots of pain. So I'm being asked to, I want to say, I'm going to use the word, I don't know if this is the correct word, I'm going to say atone. I don't know why that's the word, but it is. So I will eventually go see him. I'm not resourced enough to do that yet, but that will come. But I was able to do every one of my family members in my mind's eye. I did a love exchange with them. And this is what I realized in everybody's presence, anyone's presence. I'm in my own being. And I said, sort of with my mom and dad, each one. And then I said, I receive myself in your presence. As I breathed in, I give myself in your presence as I breathed out. And then I said, I love myself in your presence. I give my love in your presence. And I cycled through each family member of my direct lineage, just the siblings and the parents. So, I could actually viscerally feel movement happening. So, just so many things it's about me being with me, resting in my own presence through the mirror of the other. So really big stuff.
Well, congratulations. And the congratulations would be for your willingness and for your perseverance. Because as most of us understand, it's needed. Right? I'm not going to have one or two breath sessions or worksheets and be done. I need to persevere. I need to know this is that what we call enlightenment is not a state I reach, but it is just a present moment attunement to all that's going on.
Yeah.
It's a present moment openness to everything.
Yeah, that's exactly true. So yeah, thanks so much for listening.
Well, thanks for sharing. I wonder when people like you share like that, what it's resonating for others. And I want to just extend the invitation to everybody. I don't do it as much as I used to. It used to be when I was hosting this show, if someone offered things like Susan just offered, which is the recognition that there was serious abuse in her childhood, etc., and years of not talking to siblings, that I would caution people and invite them, keep your breath moving as you listen to this. This can be very intense material as it resonates different issues in each of us. And one of the more significant impacts of being present when a story like that is shared is that we can literally shut off our connection to our own response, right? In defensiveness, we blank it out, we tone it down, and in extreme cases, we dissociate. We go into this state where we literally lose direct experience of what's transpiring inside of us and around us in the moment. It's flashing back to a trauma response. And the invitation is keep your breath moving, stay connected, be, as Guy Finley would say, come alive, come awake, be attentive, hold your attention, and allow whatever's in you to move through you. Acknowledge it, own it, don't cling to it, but allow it. Be in that open, allowing space. Be in the flow space as much as you can. And what's one of the best tools that any of us has for being in the flow space? The breath, because the breath is always a flow. So we have plenty of time for comments, questions, answers, testimonials, soliloquies, favorite songs you'd like us to play that we can't. I just heard someone unmute. Who do we have?
It's Celinda.
Welcome, Celinda.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you, Susan. I am doing my work since I've been actively dialoguing with little Cindy, like you suggested me to. And she is letting me know in no uncertain terms that it is my primary issue is disconnect. And that brought me so much pain that I've been seeking it frenetically. And whenever I feel disconnected from someone for any reason, if it is emotionally charged with negativity, it brings up all that pain. And my primary pain is my disconnect at the moment, is my disconnect from...
How poetic. Her primary pain at this moment is her disconnect from the internet show. Oddly enough. So we will hope that she's able to tune back in and watch the switchboard in case that happens. And we'll extend the invitation again for somebody else to give your comments or reactions either to what Celinda was saying or what Susan shared, Susan F. just shared. As I mentioned, and I've talked about some of the articles I've shared, and I'm way more than half. I'm like 3/4 of the way, 4/5 of the way through the book, The Girl Who Baptized Herself, which is Megan Watterson's really, I think, very valuable unraveling of the dynamics around the patriarchy and the impact on women, and the exploration through the book. This is the kind of book I really like because she's weaving in her own personal experience and being, taking a cue from people like Laura McGowan and Glennon Doyle, and Elizabeth Gilbert, putting a level of raw, open honesty in her work that many, many people shy away from. And most people don't understand that level of honesty is essential to the continued growth and healing of us as humans. That the honesty, not only will it set you free, but it's completely safe. So I see that, Celinda, you're back.
Yes, my cheek hit the end button, so I disappeared.
And you may not know how appropriate it was because you were saying the words disconnected, and then you disconnected.
Oh. So you missed almost all of it about going back to my primal disconnect, or you got all that?
Yes, we've heard of that in the past. I don't know if you were talking about it specifically here, but this disconnected was the word you were using as your phone call. But
I love it. I love it. Yes, it's the root goes all the way back to whatever that primal disconnect was, which I suspect was my disconnect from my family, emotionally and mentally, when I was very young. I'm just really, it's my daughter, it keeps coming up, how I long to heal together with her, and I'm not contacting her on purpose, but I do realize I need a few, at least, worksheets to go along with my other healing strategies. So I'm prepared to do one if you feel like helping me through it.
Okay. As though it's kind of like, what kind of mood is Dr. Tim in today? Does he feel like helping, or is he going to be a meanie and not help you? Is that what you're referencing?
No.
Because so many times you've seen me be mean to people on the internet show, and you're anticipating maybe
so
I'll be
mean
mean to you. Okay. So do you have the emotion? Do you have the emotion for your worksheet?
Pain and grief, deep grief, pain.
Okay. And the thought you're using to create your grief is?
I cannot connect.
To a particular person or thing?
Yes, to those I love the most. I think the deep thought is I'm not good enough. I must be doing something wrong.
Okay.
I must be unlovable.
Okay.
Those are the primaries.
Okay. And I'm just trying to pinpoint, is this in relation to a specific person?
Yes, my daughter.
Okay. So now that you've got your emotion of deep grief and you've got your thought that you know is what you're pouring your mind energy into to create it, and you've got your goal specifically.
I want to connect. Yeah, I want to connect
with your daughter.
And heal together with my daughter. Yeah.
Now just breathe and soften and put yourself in that open, allowing space, and silently inside your own mind, say what I'm going to say out loud. I cancel my need to be right. I cancel my need for anyone or anything to change, including myself. I put my conscious logical mind on the shelf for now. I specifically cancel my goal in this worksheet, and I ask to be shown the hidden part of my own mind that's actually creating this upset. Then breathe and soften and allow, and trust that anything that comes into your awareness now is going to be part of what you need to see to begin to heal here and move forward. It's all old stuff. It can't hurt you any more than it already has. And it's perfectly safe for you to study it up close as it washes over you. And look for what beliefs did you download throughout your life in these events that would happen that would lead you to either cover up or tighten up or run away or shield yourself from your own emotions or from the attentions or affections of others. Just breathe and soften and watch what comes to mind. And just hold in your mind the awareness that this is all old stuff and it's perfectly safe for me to study it as it washes over me. And stick with that until you feel something shift or fade in intensity, or you get a deep insight from something in the past, or you realize that your mind is just going to spin and go nowhere for now. When one of those three things happens, take a nice deep cleansing breath and slowly let it all go, and scan your body and let me know what's the strongest physical sensation or the strongest emotion you're aware of right now.
The deepest sadness about losing my husband, about my daughter being my only connection to my husband when he died, because of the whole birth scenario and how I wasn't able to be the kind of parent that my daughter needed. I keep thinking of my mother and my grandmother and just the whole family lines and how much they played in all of that. It was like you have mentioned so many times, we pass on to the next generation, you and Michael both, that which we have not resolved within ourselves. And then we play it out again.
Just breathe and soften into that. What are you feeling physically in your body? With as few words as you can. Not the thoughts about what you're feeling, but what physical sensations are you aware of as you breathe and scan your body? Mostly from the neck down. We don't want a lot of thoughts about this.
Well, I feel pain in my heart.
Good. Soften into that
fear.
pain.
Yes.
Now just slow yourself down on the words. It's pain in your heart. And now describe it to me.
Right.
Not with words about fear and thoughts about it. Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it sharp? Is it dull? Is it vibrating? Is it heavy? Is it trying to burst out of your heart from the inside or pierce your heart from the outside? Just soften into this. Breathing and just observing. Is there a color associated with this pain in your heart?
It's hot and dark.
Good. Breathe into the hot and dark. Any other qualities of that energy that you can be aware of?
It
Does
is
it have
heavy.
a size or it's heavy? Does it have a size associated with it?
It's very condensed and like compacted.
Okay.
So that would make it kind of like smaller, I guess, like all sugar.
It's condensed and compacted, about the size of a pea, a golf ball, a beach ball, what?
So something that heavy fist can, or hand can enclose and squeeze.
Okay. So now breathe into that size of that object that's dark, that's heavy, that's attached to the pain in your heart, and just breathe into it and speak directly to it and ask it, when's the first time you got put into my body? And just breathe and soften. And watch. Don't think. Just watch. What impression comes up? How do physical energies shift? Is there an age that comes to mind? Is there an image of yourself at a younger age? If so, just breathe into it.
A picture of me in the garden next to a rhododendron bush. I'm about 2 years old. And I'm looking down and I don't look happy. And another picture of me at 3 on a porch in Seattle and really don't look happy. So somewhere between those two times.
Just breathe into that. Just watch. Breathe into that. Those two images, those two ages, and soften. As you keep your breath moving, what do you notice about the pain and the heavy sensation, the condensed sensation in your heart? Just soften into it.
Well, while I was, I'm softening into it. While I was talking to you, I went, it's like something in my brain said, now wait a minute. Or not my brain, I would say my mind. Now wait a minute. You've got that heart hammock and you just put manga in it.
Are you there?
Yes.
Are you breathing?
Along with everybody else that I love. It's pretty huge.
Okay, so breathe.
And it's bright red. I think I'm looking at the wrong thing.
You think what?
I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Okay, help me out with what's the right thing.
The hammock. I'm still focused on what's already dead. The past.
Okay.
Yep.
So breathing and softening, stepping away from your thoughts about how you're focusing on something that's in the past, etc. Just breathe and soften and return to the sensations in your heart. What's happening there now?
I have to get to my throat first because it's constricting. I got to get down there to the heart. I see a Christmas tree.
What are you feeling? Physical sensations, not thoughts about them. Training yourself to just breathe, and with the breath, open your awareness and direct the attention to this area of your energy system you're calling your heart space. What physical sensations do you notice there?
I'm feeling a feeling of like draining out of my body. The warmth is going down. The heat is going down through my legs. I'm breathing better. I don't feel like I'm all bound up in my chest like I was a minute ago.
Okay, excellent. Now, I would stay and keep your breath moving and mute on the phone and just make yourself some paper and pen notes about the worksheet you just did and the various associations that came to mind before you lose them. And of course, if, whatever little fragments may slip away, you can listen back to the archives later today or tomorrow and get a refresher of what you said and what came to you. But the way to really gain some leverage and allow this to continue to move in you is to stay present to the physical sensation, and then after the fact, as you make notes about them, capture these associations, these unconscious associations that bubbled up. Not to do so much with them, it's just to hold them in consciousness. Comments? Are you willing to do that?
Yeah, oh yes, definitely. I'm just I'm doing my best to remember what all is so I can get it down. I wanted to ask you, may I cancel my goal?
Which goal is that?
To connect and heal with Larissa together was my goal.
That was what we just did in the release.
Okay.
And you need to, but one of the ways that we work with this is I say, okay, so this is a loving goal. Why would I cancel a goal to reconnect with and be lovingly connected to my daughter?
Right.
And you say, the only reason we do that is because somewhere inside of me, connected to that goal is all of this pain in my heart and all of this grief. And so I temporarily cancel the goal to break the cycle of connection and ask to be shown what's in this pain, fear, sadness stuff that I brought with me into this moment when I decided to reinstate or pour my mind energy into the goal about my daughter that's getting resonated. And then I get a clear view of this, I can start to dismantle it, and then I reinstate the goal. And I notice how I'm feeling. If I'm feeling calm and loving and centered and compassionate when I load that goal in my mind, then I keep it there. If in this work we know that if I load a goal in my mind and I instantly feel or gradually feel tension or upset, or the most useful thing I can do is cancel that thought and that goal and ask to be shown the hidden part of my mind that's got all of that pain or fear or sadness or grief or rage or resentment in it energetically, so I can breathe and soften that part of my system and let the breath and the willingness to feel it and let it flow through me open the system so it moves on. So I gain the benefit of the information it holds and I allow it to move through me so that the discomfort that I was generating by resisting it or holding on too tightly, that discomfort flows out too. And that's what most of us refer to as healing.
So you took me directly to the physical sensations, which is the end result of temporarily canceling a goal. And this is the first time I've ever heard, not because you haven't said it, but the first time I've ever heard that you only cancel the goal temporarily until you can access the feelings and the sensations in your body behind it and soften. Okay, good. That's important information. That gets me out of my head more. Yeah,
Well,
because I do notice the worksheet gets me in my head. Yeah.
Well, for people who have above average intelligence, I frequently find myself coming back to this I have a list of bottom line observations. Most people on the call know it. They're available on the mindshiftersacademy.org website under the educational materials page. And these 10 bottom line observations are things that I give to people in a first or second session when they come to see me for therapy. The fifth one on that list of 10 is the following statement. My greatest strengths will at times be my greatest weakness. My greatest assets at times, my greatest liabilities. And whenever I run into someone, like most of the people on this call, but especially people like Celinda, who's doing some work right now, who are decidedly above average in intelligence, intellectual capacity. This doesn't mean they have any greater value than any other person. It just means that one of their strengths lies in the conscious logical realm. They seem to have extra brain power for that. Those people have come to rely on that tool in almost every situation, especially because in this culture, we are conditioned to believe if you get the right answer, you get a reward, and if you get the wrong answer, you get punishment. So we've been all thoroughly conditioned to want to be able to get it right at that conscious logical level with that, the frontal lobes of the brain kind of thing. And it is exceedingly difficult to break some conditioning that's been programmed so thoroughly and for so many years, especially if you're not aware of it, especially if you won't willingly back up and take a look at it and see the role it's playing in so much of the pain and suffering you're experiencing. And as Guy Finley says, the only time your mind stops doing what it does automatically is good. Mechanical level of mind churns and goes nowhere. He says the only time it stops doing something is when it wakes up and realizes that it is not the solution to its pain, it is the source of its own pain. So that's why we took you into the physical sensations, because so many of us we've been conditioned repeatedly to ignore the physical sensations and the more subtle energetic things that are related to our emotions and our thoughts, and just exclusively focus on the rational level of thought by way of trying to come up with an explanation. Explain this to me, etc. And that's a trap. As Krishnamurti would say and David Bohm would say, this leads to that process of sustained incoherence, as David Bohm's words for it. Sustained incoherence means I generate a pain and a problem with my thought pattern because there's a fundamental flaw in it, and I don't like the results, and I decide I'm going to change this, and I pour more of my mind energy into my thoughts, hoping it's going to get better, when it's actually like, having a pain in my thumb and deciding, well, I know how this got here is because I was trying to hold the nail steady as I hit the nail with a hammer, and the hammer slipped off and hit my thumb. So now my thumb is really sore. So I think I'll hit it with the hammer differently until it finally stops hurting. It's just not reasonable.
I really appreciate you taking me to sensations, because that's a really scary place for me. And so I'm very grateful.
What of course you meant to say was what? How do you want to rephrase that according to regulatory speech? I really appreciate your taking me to
I
sensations
really
because
get scared.
no, and now you're getting closer, right? Because I have a real strong habit of generating fear about going into sensations or about being aware of my. But it's just a habit I've developed, and I mean, I'm inviting you to make the same statement. But Dr. Tim, that's just a habit I've developed, and I'm fully ready to give it up. I'm inviting you
That's
to
just
make
a
that
really bad habit that I have, and I'm fully ready to give it up. I will practice that until I do.
Good idea. Good idea. So there's one of the benefits of the regulatory speech, right? Because now you can catch yourself saying that's really scary because nothing outside of me creates my fear, and I can train myself to remember, oh, I have a habit of generating fear about situations like this or about thoughts like that, etc. And as I train myself to be aware that I'm the one generating my fear, I no longer feel fearful of things outside of me. I can feel the fear, but I recognize that it's a feedback system. It's part of my body's energy, my body energy system's emotional feedback system to let me know that, you know what, Tim, you're doing something with your thought that's generating a lot of fear right now. And fear is one of those distorting filters that does not allow you to perceive accurately. So you might want to change your thinking in this moment. You might want to shift the focus of that mind energy. All right. So thank you so much, Celinda, for being willing to do some processing. We're near the end of our time here, so I will just remind us all that we come from love. We're made of the stuff that we call love. We actually are love, and everything else is false. And this other thing I've been noticing, that every single time in my life that things did not go the way I thought they should, each and every time they always worked out far better than I ever thought they could.